Alright, so here we are. Officially, this game is called Beyond Two Souls, which is another shitty PlayStation exclusive, but I'm going to be calling it something else for the rest of this review. This time is made by Quantic Dreams, creators of Indigo Prophecy and Heavy Rain, which tells me that if there's one thing about this developer that is impressive, it's that they will pick some odd-ass names for their games. This particular release stars I'm Not a Pedophile, Ellen Page, who some believe was the face model for Ellie from The Last of Us, another shitty PlayStation exclusive. Alright, for the rest of this review, I'm going to be calling this instrument of mental destruction Beyond Ellen Page. Now, as a video game, Beyond Ellen Page is a hard thing to describe because what it is actually doing is blurring the lines between video games and movies, like I blurred the lines between flirting and sexual harassment. You play through the game as Ellen Page. Oh, I'm sorry, what? Did you expect me to use the name that the developers gave her? No, I refuse. She looks like Ellen Page, sounds like Ellen Page, so you're playing through the game as Ellen Page and not the nickname of Duty that they gave her for this game. The story from the outside looking in seems to be more of a disgruntled mess. At least that's how it seems for the first few hours as you're thrust into the different perspectives of Ellen Page's virtual doll life. But thankfully to some good story structure, it will eventually come together and the abstract look at her life actually helps you get more involved with the character. This had to be a big risk in the direction of the game, because screwing it up would mean that the game would be too unfocused and just end up being a huge mess. Thankfully that's not the case here, as it allows for some very interesting insight into the life of the virtual doll Ellen Page. Alright, now without spoiling much here, Ellen is a child born with a special gift, which is the ability to talk to another being which regular folks like you and I can't see. Now, I've already forgotten his name because they just didn't use it that much in game, so from now on I'm just going to be calling him Curtis. Anyway, Curtis is able to interact with the world around it and possess the bodies of human beings. And Curtis is also very protective of Ellen Page to a large degree, but you have to understand why. Because in this whole world, Ellen is the only person that Curtis is able to communicate with, while Ellen is able to communicate with anyone she pleases. Now from any standpoint you look at this, their relationship is hardly even now, is it? And Curtis is getting the short end of the stick. Now, I know what you're thinking. If Curtis can just possess the bodies of humans, then why doesn't he just take over a random person and start having wild monkey ghost sex with virtual doll Ellen Page? You know, like most of us would do. Well, that's a mystery you're going to have to find out for yourselves by getting the game. I'm not Captain Spoils-a-lot, and I most certainly will not tell you that answer. Anyway, moving on to the combat of the game. How would I describe it? Dreadful, awful, dire, sickening, unfeeling, lack of immersion, vile, horrendous. I know, it's shit. 100% quick time event shit. Well, for me anyway. If you're one of those types of persons who get off on quick time events, well, this game is for you. Fuck the story if you love quick time events, cause there's nothing better for you. If you're, how do I say this? If the story wasn't so good, I'd honestly just rename the game Quick Time Events featuring Ellen Page. But usually, with QuickTime events, there's a sense of urgency to compel your sights to focus on how the composition is taking form in the game. Oh, but not here, because there is no possible way for Ellen Page to die. Even in the most ridiculous moments of focus and dire straits, all the game does is pat you on the head, rubs your boo-boo, and keeps moving on. And with that revelation, here is where we dive into the variables of what one might consider a game. Now, in my opinion, this may change as I explore the constructs of video game design, but from my experience, I just can't consider Beyond Ellen Page as a game, at least not in a typical sense. With no sense of failure or risk, that also stops the sense of the game having any reward or accomplishment other than a special cutscene or two. Unless you're the type of person that feels accomplished every time you watch a television show, I prefer to think of this as a movie with minimal or subtle audience interaction. Visually, Beyond Ellen Page looks amazing. From the lighting to the characters' facial animations, it's all done very well and makes you think that, well, I know for a fact that some PlayStation 4 games would release will probably look worse than this game. Quantic Dreams really did a lovely job getting everything to work really well. It's not perfect, but it's probably the best I've seen since L.A. Noire in terms of facial reconstruction into a game. Ooh, well, would you look at this? This is a rarity here on my channel. I actually wish to talk more about the game. I can't believe it. I want to talk more about the symbiotic relationship between Ellen and Curtis, and how even though Ellen lived the life of an outcast, this effect on the life of Curtis can be argued to be in an even more desperate state. Or how the emotions of the character design can help immerse a player viewer into this by connecting with their own personal experiences. But this review has gone on way too long for my shitty gaming channel and gotten way too serious. So I'll just end it on a lighter note by saying giggity giggity goo, this game gets a 2.
Sorry eyes, they cut through the bone, make it hard to leave you alone. They leave you here.